Hi, so what I got here is this double pane glass tea infuser water bottle, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of this. So let me just zoom in here and give you a good look. And I don't know if you can see that there is a double pane. So it's not actually this wide, it's actually slightly a ½ inch less, which is basically, the heat doesn't get through, like even if you put boiling water in it, and I'll demonstrate that. So just let me zoom in here and you could see like the double pane along the sides here. So this is pretty neat that it basically traps the heat in there. Now, I don't know if it actually traps the heat and keeps the tea warm, but it definitely doesn't have the outer surface as hot. So this is very thick. So I'm gonna knock on this and you could hear just how thick it is. So when I first bought this, I was a little bit concerned about how thin it is because I saw, some people broke their bottles pretty easily, like just knocking it on, a granite countertop. And I suppose that can happen pretty easily. Now let me just take it apart. You could see there's the stainless steel tea infuser there. Now one of the cons that you have to watch out for is the lid itself inside, there's that white lid, is actually plastic. So one of the things you were hoping when you're getting glass is that there's no plastic touching the tea. Well, that's not exactly the case. So I'm going to open this up. So this is actually supposed to act as a kind of like a teacup. So a normal teacup, when you're serving tea, is kind of like this size or smaller. So this is supposed to like emulate that when you pour the tea out. And before I demonstrate the tea, so I'll have like tea bags here. I also have like loose leaf sort of tea. So this is like loose leaf tea that I sometimes use. So I'm going to show that. But I want to unscrew this and show you how thick the glass is. So just trying to. So I want to say it's almost like when you have those baby bottles. Except I even feel like it's even thicker than that. But of course it thins out because this is like a double pane. And it's kind of like a flask, like your chemistry set type of flask. Now, the problem with these is that when you compare it to an 8-ounce glass, it's actually less than that. So I filled up an 8-ounce glass up to 90%, and when I pour it, it actually overflows. So this doesn't even actually take up like 1 cup. It takes up like 80% of 1 cup, and it'll be about this high. So when you put the infuser, it might overflow. So I would say realistically, this is like a 7-ounce, maybe 6.5, 7-ounce cup of tea when you're boiling it. Now, this does come apart, so let me show you that. So when I pull out the tea infuser, this is the stainless steel tea infuser, and as I mentioned, it has a plastic lid. So some of these don't. So if you're looking for ones, make sure that it doesn't have, the plastic lid. Now this particular one does come in a box like this, just in case you want to give these as a gift. It does make a very decent gift. And going over this, so this has the silicone seal. Now the silicone seal does come out, and all you have to do is when you're putting it in, just hold it down with one finger and then run your finger around it to replace the silicone seal. So the silicone seal just sits on top of the lid on this side and also on the other side. So just to give you an idea here. So these are the pieces, and this does come out for you to put loose leaves. Now, what I normally do is I simply put, something with the tea bag here. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put the tea bag on this side and then just have the water drain out. So I'll demonstrate that. Now I just want to go through kind of like the dimensions. So before I do the tea demonstration, let me show that. The dimensions here. So this is 8 3/4 of an inch, and the width itself is 2.5 inches. And once again, it's not meant to have a lot of tea, just about 7 ounces, maybe 6.5 ounces, which is less than an 8-ounce cup. So the other thing I also wanted to show was, now this particular one I bought for $17, and they vary. They vary from $10 to all the way through, I want to say, even $40, $50. And I will have the one that I got in the description area of this video, so check out the link. This one was actually $16 with $6 coupon off. So this particular thing just goes in here. So it's not a quick thing, you know, like it's not something that takes 2 seconds to do. And I do have to force this in a little bit. It went in pretty smoothly this time. And then I could replace the cap once I put the loose leaf tea in here, if I was going to do that. So I could actually, in some ways, I suppose I could leave this out and just have this here, if I don't like the plastic. In which case, I would put the loose leaf tea here and just make sure that this thing doesn't push through. And it won't. I mean, it's pretty well sealed. So I'll actually show that. So I'm going to have this on this end, and then I'm going to put the tea in, just to give you a view. This view here. So I have the tea bag, and I'm going to put it basically into this cup. You know, give it a slight twist, and then I'm going to put the hot water in here and then reverse it. So let me get the hot water. So you can see here I have my electric kettle and I have the boiling hot water. So I am going to pour the boiling hot water in this container here. And keep in mind, this is double pane, so it's insulated, and so it's not going to burn my hand. And I'm going to go here, pour it in. And I'm going to pour it basically to the lip there. Not to the lip, but all the way to the bottom here. And now it's not hot because of the insulation. I'm going to take this, turn it over, and give it like a little twist. Make sure it's a little bit tight. Same with the top. Now, in order for me to have the water enter there, I can't just all of a sudden turn it over. It's going to leave an air gap. I have to slowly tilt it on its side, and you can see the water entered now on this end. And this end is actually hot, so I can't really touch this end. And you can see that the tea is on that side now, and I turn it upside down. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to give it some time. But you could see here, like once I turn it upside down, it's basically empty to like an inch of the bottle. And up here, there's like steam. But on the other hand, there is the you know, boiling at the bottom. So I don't know if you heard that. It made a weird noise. So when I hear a weird noise like that, I'm always concerned. I'm concerned that because this isn't a double pane, whether this is gonna crack. So there is a difference between the bottom here and the top here. The top here is kind of like, you know, what do you call it? There's an air gap in there and it's double pane. Whereas here it's hot and I can't even touch it. Yeah, I can't even hold it because it's that boiling hot. So just keep that in mind. I plan on using this basically in my office, you know, where I could make tea pretty easily. But now I'm wondering if it's any better than just putting it in a cup. So when I said I compared this to a cup, so side by side, the cup is definitely bigger. And so if I had this cup filled basically, I want to say 90%, 80%, it's not going to fill this up because of the double pane. It's a little bit more narrow, and it ends up being like 6.5 to 7 ounces versus 8 ounces. So it's not even like I have a full cup here. I have the cup, you know, all the way up to, you know, 80%, 85%. So also keep that in mind. You're not getting a whole lot of tea here. So sometimes I do wonder, like maybe if I just get a stainless steel infuser and put it in here into the electric kettle, you know, or put it into a separate kettle itself that is just a tea kettle. You know, so if you're at home, I mean, it's a cute idea, but I just don't think this is very practical. And once again, if I wanted the tea, you know, I would have to, and by the way, it's leaking, and people do complain about that it leaks. So I have to keep it still here. And you can see there's like water here. So in some ways, it doesn't seem like it's even all that practical. Like there's just too many steps. You know, first I have to take both sides out, and then I have to take the middle thing out, and then maybe I even have to take this cap out because I don't like the plastic. Or maybe some other infusers don't have this plastic but has this stainless steel. So I want to say I would not recommend buying this particular thing, no matter what brand it is or what the model is. You know, maybe if it's like a stainless steel one, maybe it's worth considering. But even then, it's just like too small. You know, if the serving size is just too small. I mean, the thing about this is you want it to work because it feels like it's a good idea, but in practical use, it's just not. You know, you're going to drink more than a half a cup, or you know, more than 7 ounces. You know, you might want 2 cups. So in which case, it's just better off getting an infuser and then just having a, you know, a tea kettle or a small little teapot for that particular use. And I can't even show too much more just because every time I tilt it, it's leaking a little bit. So I did go over to my sink and I flipped this over. So you could see that the tea color is now here. Now when I was flipping it over the sink, this plastic piece was very hot. So not only does this single pane glass cup here gets hot, and obviously it'll get hot if it's boiling water without the insulation, without the air insulation like the bottom here. So both of these get really hot. You know, steam is very, very hot. So when I basically flipped it over, you could see it fills it back up to, you know, roughly where I had it. Of course, some of the water leaked anyway. So, I mean, I wouldn't get this because this was $10. You know, maybe it wasn't all that bad. I don't see myself using this too often, but, you know, maybe you might feel differently and might still want to go with this despite my review, but I just wanted to mention and demonstrate the pros and cons. And, you know, so now this part is a little bit warm, but it is touchable. And so I'm going to open this and you could hear that release. And this is how it looks. Gosh, this was really a good idea, and you really, really want it to work, but practical use, probably not all that great. So I did want to give you this close-up view here so you could see the double pane, or the double glass here with the airspace in the middle. And it does keep this cup a little bit warmer, as if it was like a thermos, but not quite insulated like a thermos. So, you know, just having this tea sitting here capped for about an hour, it was still nice and warm when it was capped. But when I hold this, the glass itself is warm, so definitely there is heat loss even through the double pane. So I'm just giving you a close-up so you could see kind of like the flask in the middle, or the test tube looking right there, you know, compared to what you saw before. So instead, what I think I still prefer are these handy tea infusers. So this particular one, and so this is a medium-sized one with like a very fine strainers. So if I zoom in here, see how fine the holes are here. And this particular one is basically 2 1/4 inches and 1 1/2 inches wide in the mouth, and it closes really nicely. And I'll have the links also in the description area down below. And if you want to check this out, for this, simply hang it like so, and it keeps it nicely in place. So this particular one came with 2 of them for $12, which is a very decent price for this particular design, and also how handy it is to open up and how easily it does so. So the infusers, just very nice. I'll have these here. And if I tilt it, you can actually see, based on the light, the fine holes. And then this has a nice, attractive design. And once again, you can see it hanging over there. And the hook itself is sizable, though I'll just leave it hanging because, as long as it reaches the bottom and it's covered up. There you go. That's this tea infuser. So here, just a close-up look in the tea kettle itself, in the electric kettle. So preferably, you'll actually have a separate teapot for this, but I personally like to just put it in the tea kettle, as it seems to give the best, what do you call it? Like just dissolving the tea seems to work out the best. And you see that even with the tiny holes, it actually does take in water. And so it's sunk to the bottom, basically already. And just to give you a side by side, that's how tiny the holes are, that you can't even see it without that lighting in the back. So I previously had lighting in the back, but I didn't want it to reflect off of the stainless steel. And well, I hope you have a good look at these now, in case you want to purchase it yourself. So I will have the links in the description area of this video. But that's really it. I think that's really what I want to show. Now I will have this tea kettle in the description area. I will have this in the description area, even though I don't recommend this. And that's really it. I hope this helped, and please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.